A few years ago, I felt like my life was stuck in neutral. Every morning I woke up with big plans. I told myself I was going to be more disciplined, more focused, and finally start making real progress. But somehow every day ended the same way. Hours disappeared scrolling on my phone, overthinking things that didn't matter, and promising myself that tomorrow would be different. Maybe you've been there too. Maybe you know you're capable of more, but it feels like something invisible keeps holding you back. Here's the truth. The biggest limitation in your life isn't your lack of talent, money, or opportunities. It's the mental walls you've built without even realizing it. In this video, I'm going to show you how to break those walls and train your mind to become limitless, not through motivation that fades tomorrow, but through principles that can completely change the way you think and act. Make sure you stay until the end because every lesson builds on the previous one, and the final lesson might completely change the way you see your potential. If you're serious about becoming the strongest version of yourself, subscribe to the channel and let's begin. 1. Unleash the power of your mind. There was a time when I believed successful people were simply born different. I thought they had more confidence, more talent, or something special that I didn't have. But the more I learned, the more I realized that wasn't true. What separates most successful people from everyone else isn't talent. It's the way they've trained their minds. Think about it. Nobody is born knowing how to drive a car, speak a language, or build a business. Every skill starts with struggle. Every expert starts as a beginner. Yet most people quit because they think being bad at something means they're not meant for it. The truth is your brain is constantly changing. Every challenge you face, every habit you build, and every skill you practice is shaping who you become. The person you are today is not the person you have to be tomorrow. Marcus Aurelius once said that we have power over our minds, not outside events. That's a powerful reminder because most people spend their lives trying to control things they can't control while ignoring the one thing they can, their mindset. So ask yourself this: what would happen if you stopped focusing on your limitations and started focusing on your potential? What if the life you want isn't impossible? What if you're simply one decision away from starting the transformation? 2. Destroy limiting beliefs. For years, I had a habit that nearly destroyed my progress. Every time I wanted to do something difficult, a voice in my head would show up. It would say things like, "You're not ready. You're not good enough. What if you fail?" And without realizing it, I listened. The scary part is that most people spend their entire lives believing thoughts that were never true. Maybe someone once told you that you weren't smart enough. Maybe you failed at something and decided success wasn't for you. Maybe you've repeated the same negative story so many times that it feels like reality. But here's the truth. Just because you think something doesn't make it true. Imagine if a child fell while learning to walk and decided walking wasn't for them. It sounds ridiculous. Yet adults do the same thing every day. One failure becomes an identity. One mistake becomes a life sentence. Epictetus taught that it's not what happens to us that matters, but how we react to it. Failure doesn't define you. Rejection doesn't define you. Your response does. The moment you start questioning your limitations, you begin taking away their power. And that's where real growth begins. 3. Master your focus. If there's one thing destroying potential today, it's distraction. Most people don't have a motivation problem. They have an attention problem. I used to wonder why I wasn't making progress. Then I looked at how I spent my days. Every few minutes I checked my phone. I jumped between tasks. I allowed every notification to control my attention. One day I decided to focus on a single task for one uninterrupted hour. No phone, no social media, no distractions. The results shocked me. In one focused hour, I accomplished more than I usually did in an entire afternoon. That's when I realized focus is a superpower. Every successful person has learned how to direct their attention toward what matters and ignore what doesn't. Ask yourself honestly, are you building your future or constantly escaping from it? Because every distraction costs you time, and time is something you'll never get back. Protect your attention. Guard it like your life depends on it, because in many ways it does. 4. Master your emotions. For a long time, I thought being strong meant hiding my emotions. If I was angry, I ignored it. If I was stressed, I buried it. If I was frustrated, I pretended everything was fine. But emotions don't disappear just because you ignore them. They wait. And eventually they come out when you least expect it. One day after a stressful week, I snapped over something completely insignificant. That's when I realized I wasn't controlling my emotions. My emotions were controlling me. The truth is, emotions are not the enemy. They are signals. Anger tells you something feels wrong. Fear tells you something feels uncertain. Stress tells you something needs attention. The problem starts when we react without thinking. Imagine someone insults you. Most people react instantly. They get angry, argue, and give away their peace of mind. But what if you paused for a moment? What if you chose your response instead of letting your emotions choose it for you? That's real strength. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that other people's actions belong to them, but his response belonged to him. That's a lesson we can all use. The next time a strong emotion appears, don't run from it. Don't let it control you either. Observe it, understand it, then choose your response wisely, because the strongest person in the room is often the calmest one. 5. Handle stress like a Stoic. Life doesn't get easier. Challenges never stop coming. There was a time when every problem felt like a disaster to me. A setback would ruin my mood for days. A mistake would stay in my mind for weeks. Then I realized something. Stress becomes dangerous when we convince ourselves that every problem is bigger than it actually is. Think about some challenge you faced 2 years ago. At the time, it probably felt overwhelming. Yet here you are today. You survived it. You learned from it. You moved forward. Most of the things we worry about never happen. Seneca once said that we suffer more in imagination than in reality. And honestly, that's true for most people. We create worst-case scenarios in our heads. We imagine failure before we've even tried. We carry problems from tomorrow into today. The solution isn't to pretend problems don't exist. The solution is to focus on what you can control. Can you control the economy? No. Can you control other people's opinions? No. Can you control whether life gives you challenges? No. But you can control your attitude. You can control your effort. You can control your next action. Whenever stress appears, ask yourself one simple question. What can I do right now? Focus on that answer and ignore the rest. 6. Fuel your brain. Most people want a stronger mind, but they treat their body like an afterthought. I used to think success was all about working harder. So I slept less, ate whatever was convenient, and ignored my health. At first, nothing seemed wrong, but slowly my energy dropped. My focus disappeared. My motivation became weaker and weaker. Then I realized something obvious. You can't expect your mind to perform at its best if your body is running on empty. Think of your brain like a high-performance engine. If you put bad fuel into a sports car, you can't expect it to perform well. The same is true for you. The food you eat becomes the energy your brain uses. The sleep you get affects your memory, focus, and mood. Even a short walk can improve the way you think. The problem is that most people sacrifice their health to save time. Then later they sacrifice their time trying to recover their health. A limitless mind starts with simple habits. Better sleep, better food, more movement, nothing complicated. Because discipline isn't just about working hard, it's also about taking care of the machine that makes all your success possible. Your body and mind are a team. When one gets stronger, the other follows. And then visualize success before it happens. Have you ever noticed how athletes close their eyes before a big game? Or how successful speakers mentally rehearse before stepping onto a stage? They're not wasting time. They're preparing their minds. A few years ago, before every important opportunity, I would imagine everything going wrong. I'd picture failure, embarrassment, and disappointment. By the time the opportunity arrived, I had already defeated myself. Then I changed my approach. Instead of imagining failure, I started imagining success. I pictured myself staying calm, confident, and performing at my best. Something surprising happened. My confidence started growing. The mind is powerful. It doesn't always know the difference between a vividly imagined experience and a real one. That's why fear grows when we constantly imagine worst-case scenarios. So why not use that same power in your favor? Every morning, spend a few minutes visualizing the person you want to become. See yourself taking action. See yourself staying disciplined. See yourself achieving your goals. Then go make that vision a reality. Because the future you see most often is usually the future you move toward. 8. Cultivate creativity. Most people think creativity is something you're born with. That's not true. Creativity is a skill. And like any skill, it gets stronger when you use it. I remember a period when I felt completely stuck. Every idea felt boring. Every solution looked the same. It felt like my mind was trapped inside a box. Then I made a small change. I started taking walks without my phone. No music, no notifications, no distractions, just silence. At first it felt strange. But after a few days something happened. Ideas started appearing out of nowhere. Solutions to problems became clearer. That's because creativity needs space. Most people fill every quiet moment with noise, videos, social media, notifications, constant stimulation. But creativity often appears when the world becomes quiet. The next time you're facing a problem, step away from the screen for a while. Go for a walk. Sit in silence. Let your mind think. You might be surprised by what it comes up with. Sometimes your best ideas are waiting on the other side of stillness. 9. Become mentally unbreakable. Everyone loves success. Very few people love struggle. But struggle is where strength is built. Think about the strongest person you know. Chances are their strength didn't come from easy times. It came from challenges. Life has a way of testing all of us. There will be failures, rejections, setbacks, moments when you feel like giving up. The question isn't whether those moments will come. The question is who you'll become when they do. Epictetus taught that difficulties show us who we really are. And he's right. Anyone can stay positive when everything is going well. Real character appears when things fall apart. The next time life knocks you down, don't ask, "Why is this happening to me?" Ask, "What is this teaching me?" That simple shift changes everything, because every challenge contains a lesson, every setback contains an opportunity, and every difficult moment is a chance to become stronger than you were before. 10. Commit to lifelong growth. One of the biggest mistakes people make is thinking growth has an endpoint. They believe that once they achieve a certain goal, they'll finally have everything figured out. But growth doesn't work that way. The most successful people in the world are still learning. They're still improving. They're still finding ways to get better. That's what separates them from everyone else. They never stop being students. A few years ago, I thought reaching my goals would make me feel complete. But every time I achieved something, I realized there was another level waiting beyond it. And that's a good thing, because growth is what makes life exciting. Seneca once said that as long as you live, keep learning how to live. That's the mindset of a limitless person. Not perfection, not knowing everything, just a commitment to becoming a little better every single day. Read more, learn more, challenge yourself more. Because the moment you stop growing is the moment you start moving backward. And if you've made it this far in the video, remember this. Your mind is more powerful than you think. The limits you see today are not permanent. Your focus can improve. Your confidence can grow. Your discipline can strengthen. Your future can change. But only if you decide to take action. The journey starts now. Before you leave, remember this. Most people spend their entire lives waiting for the perfect moment to change. They wait until they're more motivated, more confident, or more prepared. But that moment never comes. The truth is that becoming limitless isn't about making one massive change overnight. It's about making small decisions every single day, choosing discipline over excuses, choosing growth over comfort, choosing action over overthinking. Everything we've talked about today means nothing if you don't apply it. Knowledge doesn't change lives. Action does. So after this video ends, I want you to choose one lesson and put it into practice immediately. Not tomorrow, not next week, today. And if this video helped you in any way, make sure to subscribe and join our community of people who are committed to becoming stronger, wiser, and more disciplined every day. Thank you for watching. Remember, your mind is either your greatest weapon or your biggest limitation. The choice is yours. Until next time, stay strong, stay focused, and keep moving forward.